Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K Now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next few hours, along with Nick.
Good morning.
Good morning, and Mike.
Yellow.
And Spence.
Where are we exactly?
We're here. Our number is 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And this morning's show is being brought to you by Adamus.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters for professionals.
Like me.
And today is October 5th,
Happy Halloween.
2014. What?
Happy Halloween.
Yeah, it's coming. She's a coming. So what's going on, everybody? Had a good week?
An all right week, I guess you could say.
Had any tests yet?
I don't. This is not what I want to be talking about on a Sunday morning. I've got all week to talk about that garbage, not Sunday.
Oh.
You're gonna make me cry.
No, don't. Nah, you're probably doing just fine.
I don't know.
Knowing
Yeah.
I've seen him do math. It is not a pretty sight.
Whoa. I'm hanging up.
No,
Goodbye.
come on. He's okay. Even in math, he's okay.
That's debatable. It's all in good fun for people listening. At least I hope so. Mike, is it all in good fun?
All in good fun.
Yep. There we go.
Is that our Mike saying he's 5% full?
It is. We're talking about my Kindle.
Oh, I thought somebody was telling you that you're full of...
the Kindle.
Oh.
That's a private matter.
Which Fire did you buy, Mike?
It is the 8.9 HD.
And you like it?
I really do. I mean, my wife bought it for me. I've had it 2 years now. I haven't used it that much. But when my wife bought it for me, I'm sitting there saying, "Here we go." I really wasn't that crazy about it. But because there are so many convenient things you can do with it, I've really grown to depend on it. I've read a couple of books on it. It has the glossy screen. I'm not totally persuaded that that's the best way to go. She has a couple of them, but the one she liked the best is the DX that has the Paperwhite screen, the original Paperwhite screen.
Mm.
She can read for hours and hours and hours on that thing and not get too tired. This one, particularly at my office, you have to hold it at the perfect angle or it's a perfect mirror of the fluorescent tubes overhead.
Mm.
So it's a backlit screen, too. That's supposed to have a lot to do with fatigue.
But a lot of the new Paperwhites are backlit too, as I understand it.
Yeah, I'm going to have to upgrade mine. My original Kindle keyboard is starting to get wonky.
So which one do you have?
The Kindle keyboard, the original, like third generation of the very original the last version of the keyboard, the physical keyboard Kindle.
I didn't even know they had one called that.
Yeah, if you go way back, you've got I think it's the very third version of it. I've had it about 4 years, maybe more.
Well, she had her DX 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, so it's back. It's vintage. When they came out with the DX, they came out with this version of the standard size Kindle, and it has a full QWERTY keyboard. They're tiny keys, but
I think hers has that. But she loved it. I mean, they've had to replace it 3 times.
I've been lucky. I've never had to replace it, but now it's got a charging issue. So
One of hers has a charging issue as well. And she got online with Amazon Kindle support, which is excellent support for the most part. They had her go through eBay or somewhere, Amazon somewhere, and order a part to fix her Kindle. The part they had her order was a surface mount USB jack. Now, how can the average consumer replace a surface mount USB jack on their Kindle?
you just hold it over it, it fixes itself.
I guess.
Absorbs the part.
I guess. So when she called them out, oh, take it to some store that replaces screens. They should be able to do it. Most of these repair shops are hackers. I don't want them taking.
Oh, don't say that.
Huh?
Don't say that.
I'm telling you, Amnon. I mean, I know some at a shop that they're nice guys, but I mean, you go in there and, I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Say good Sunday morning to him.
Amnon, when you walk into one of these stores, it reminds you of one of the electronic stores down in Lower East Side. That's when you got to worry.
You talking about the salesman or you talking about the repair people?
Well, both.
Okay.
Just a bunch of haters.
Andrew took his Mac to some Russian repair shop in Queens, and they closed shop and left and took the Mac with them.
Whoa.
Or threw it in the trash can.
That's what I would have done. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that.
I hope you didn't.
Why?
Because it's not a nice thing to say.
Hater.
Everybody's been mean to me all morning.
Nah.
It's your turn.
Yeah, exactly. It's time for my payback. Any good computer problems this week, Amnon?
Problems?
There's got to be something good.
No, but maybe somebody can explain to me how to do something since I don't use Picasa. Who's using Picasa?
Not anybody anymore, I don't think.
Okay, never mind then.
What's the question?
I've got a computer that went bad, but the drive is good. Windows 8, unfortunately, doesn't like for the drive to move from machine to machine.
Well, no kidding.
And when I look at my pictures, I mean, there's a bunch of folders, and he says, yeah, that's all my pictures. When I look in there, there are no JPEGs, there are no GIFs. It's all kind of weird files. And I asked him, I said, what do you use with for the photos? He said, I use Picasa. So I don't know if I can, I mean, I copied everything over, but I don't use Picasa, so I have no idea if it'll...
I'm not aware of Picasa changing the file extension.
But if they're raw, like, Picasa files, that's, I believe,
they
what will
are
happen.
weird thing. I mean, it's different
There
files. What?
There should be a source folder with the pictures in them as well. I would look.
Okay,
again,
I didn't look at that. I looked at...
I'm pretty sure from what I've done with Picasa, which is not a lot, but I have covered stuff from Picasa. I believe there was a source folder that had the pictures.
There were a bunch of folders with the names of the pictures that he recognized. And he said, here, go to this one. And you go in there, and instead of having, like, instead of seeing a JPEG, it's got probably about 20 or 25 different files little tiny files and some big ones and AHCX and libs. And I was saying, what in the world is this? I've never seen something like that. So I don't know if
Probably
Picasa...
table of contents, and other organization files. When you look at
for each picture.
Yeah.
Well, it's got to store a thumbnail. It's got to
Yeah.
store information about
Well,
the picture.
Title, index.
Exactly. Very common. So there's probably a source folder somewhere that's storing the actual pictures.
Here's what you need to do, Amnon. This is what I would do if I were in your case. I would go into that folder, find the name of a file that you or he recognizes
Right.
as a valid picture file name, then go to search everything, enter just the file name,
Right.
find out where everywhere on the drive that there is a file with that name with any extension. And if you find a JPEG or a JPEG or PNG file or GIF file
Yeah, I
with that
guess I
same
could-
name, then that's probably the only file that has to be maintained. My understanding is that let's say that you have find a folder that has JPEGs in it.
Right.
If you move that folder over, installed Picasso on the new computer, and reinstalled it, and then scan the drive, it should go in and pick up those and rebuild all those other crappy files.
As long as they're still the source and it hasn't modified them, which I
Right.
can't imagine it has. That would just be a really poor.
Yeah, well, he has a
Software
backup of
execution.
all the JPEGs on his flash drive at home. But I was moving everything, and I said, okay, let's move this one. I said, what am I moving?
He's got the backups of the originals. It's probably better that he uses that in case Picasa did do any tweaking to any.
Location.
So if he's got the raw, rebuilding his Picasa library will probably be a whole lot easier.
Picasso Photos supports JPEG, TIFF, BMP, GIF, PSD, PNG, TGA, and selected RAW formats, which include DNG, CRW, CR2, RAW, RAF, 3FR, DCR, KDC, DNG, RAW, MRW, NEF, NRW, ORF, PEF, X3F, ARW, SRF, and SR2.
Now you know.
Interesting.
But anything other than that's going to be an index, thumbnail, or proprietary Picasso file. But that search everything, Amnon, if you're not using that, you ought to be.
I
works
use it. I
extremely
use
well.
it when I need to find something, and because I turned the nice thing about it is when to get the machine to perform better, what you do is one of the things is to stop indexing, because it doesn't take resources to actually index the file and search and put it all in a database. But then when you look for it, it will not find it, or it'll take longer. So the search everything goes and does it on its own whenever you tell it to.
It's manual.
And it's nice. And it's fast. As far as I'm concerned, it's faster than the Windows one.
Oh, 10 to 1.
Yeah.
And
So
it
yeah,
also,
I do use it.
looks-
Go ahead.
and it also looks in places that the Windows search won't find files unless you know how to manipulate it.
Say that again.
It will find files that the Windows search will not find unless you really know how to use Windows search to look in certain places.
Oh,
Windows search is kind of dumbed down. It wants to tell you what to do and how to do it. Search everything from Void Tools just goes out and looks. And
Hey,
looks-
Amnon.
Yeah.
There's a problem with Bamboozer now with this new player.
what is it?
It doesn't tell you that you're live unless you mouse over the video.
Oh shoot! You mean it's not?
No, it's live, but you have to mouse over the video, and there's a little pop-up in the top left-hand corner. You got to move that away from your main, because it doesn't indicate that you're watching a rerun.
I'm looking in Bamboozer and I'm seeing the red live on the upper left.
Okay,
I see the live icon and I don't have to do anything.
That's because you refreshed the page. I'm just telling you. I just saw Andrew on the video, and I thought he joined the Hangout, and then I moused over the video. and it said that you were live.
No! But I mean, do you see when you're watching.
Yes, I see that. I see that it's live now, but I'm telling you, like the old one, it used to pop. It used to do a pop-up that took up a quarter of the video. It doesn't do that anymore.
Right.
It's only a pop-up
Yes.
if you mouse over the video.
Oh, it's got nothing to do with the resolution. Remember,
I didn't say it had anything
Oh.
to do with the resolution. I said it's the new player.
yeah, the new player is weird. I don't
Yeah,
like
well,
it.
that's not good because people can't tell when you're live or not.
Yeah, the only way to know if we're live or not is if you see that little red image on the upper left saying live. It's the only way that I know to see that it's live. And what happened when you moused over?
You mouse over it, there's a little pop-up, but you have to mouse over the video. It's not there the whole time.
Mm.
Yeah, that's not good. Maybe we need to rethink what we're using for the main CDN.
Yeah, if you start, well, I mean this was the situation sort of like all the whole time since we start using, which I didn't like about it. If you start watching a previous show, like if you're not live and you click on it, it shows the latest show that's recorded. When you go live, it does not switch. It takes time, and you did have to mouse over for that big red banner to come up and say, it's live, watch live now, or something like that. But if people would just sit there, they wouldn't know. And we used to have to tell them, you have to refresh the page. Like with JustCast or with StreamUp, you can be there and watching something, and if something goes live, suddenly it actually you can't watch recorded, so that's why it's working there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that
Yeah.
that's not good because it doesn't indicate. I had no clue that I was watching a rerun until I saw Andrew. That's when I knew.
Yeah, that can be a problem for people that don't.
Before it used to be fine because the box took up.
Yeah, what I need to do is I need to switch again. Stream 1 with Stream 2. Stream 2 is JustCast.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Something
and
that,
do that. That will never happen.
Yeah, just so that people don't get confused.
Good morning, Steve.
Good morning, Amnon, Nick, and everybody else that might be there, although I can't see anybody because Bamboos is showing a blank screen.
Hello, Steve.
Hello, Steve.
Welcome
Hey, Mike.
back.
Howdy, Steve.
And how's Spence?
Are you saying that your Bamboozer is showing a blank screen?
Yep, just a black screen. I can hear audio through it, but just black screen.
How about clicking on Stream 2?
I'll give that a try.
I thought Bamboozer was meant for people.
I know in Europe. I mean, they are in Europe, so you should actually get a better.
Well, maybe we've debunked that theory.
Yep, it's coming through okay on Stream 2.
It's working on Stream 2?
It certainly is, yes.
Okay. It may be your cache, too. I don't know.
Possibly. I'm having some network problems at the moment. That's what the problems I was having last week were down to network problems I deduced from searching around to try and find what was going on. That's why I'm late today, because there's more network problems. The network adapter in the computer, for some reason, isn't working right as it should.
Steve, you're not allowed to be late. I'm sorry.
Well, I did try and come in on time, but it took about 8 minutes to reboot the machine.
Well, I think we're gonna have to reduce your pay for the show. I'm sorry.
I have to get him
Okay.
a Mac.
As Yoda would say, do or do not. There is no try.
Well,
There you go.
I did my best.
Boy, does that tie into an article I'm going to cover at some point that's totally unrelated to technology. But before that, you've never heard of these guys, Nick, but Paul Revere of Paul Revere and the Raiders just passed away.
Oh. How old was he?
He was in his 70s. I don't know for sure. 76. Wow.
Paul Revere, like the guy that rode the horse.
No. He's a 60s icon. He was part of the British music scene with the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and so forth.
I
Dave
was gonna
Clark.
say he was born in probably the late 1700s, so he'd be pretty old.
Yeah, but he still did he played drums pretty well. So
Okay,
or
good.
whatever he played. He may have been. What did he play? I don't even know what instrument he played.
He rode a horse.
But they actually, what was strange is that the first song that they recorded that got any attention was the song Louie Louie. And it was recorded in the same recording studio that the Kingsmen recorded their song within 1 week. And the Kingsmen hit was a success, and Paul Revere's was not. Oh well.
Oh, well.
So who knows who Mike Rowe is?
Mike Rowe, the Dirty Jobs guy.
Wasn't he the guy that Microsoft was having a go at because he tried to start a site, Mike Rowe Software?
That's interesting.
Is that Micro or Nicro?
No, his name was Mike,
Excellent position.
or Michael Rowe, but he tried to create a site called Micro Software. And Microsoft had a go at him, was going to sue him out of old existence and goodness knows what else, several years ago.
Well, what would I'm take it that Dirty Jobs is a TV show.
It is.
And what network is it on?
I think it's on History.
He does. He's not only is he a advocate for the people who do supposedly menial or jobs that nobody else want to do actually contribute more to society than anybody will acknowledge, and he's all about hard work, just doing your job, and he's taken some positions where he has agreed with outside of the Hollywood realm. If you get into the conservative side of things, he goes along. He's very much an advocate for work, and has written some great responses. He gets attacked regularly by Hollywood types because he'll side with conservatives on the work ethic, although he's not a conservative himself.
Well, how can you advocate for a conservative position and not be a conservative unless you're simply playing to the crowd?
No, if you look at what he's done and read the articles he's written and the responses he gives, it's like it would be kind of what did they call them in the South, Mike? Red Dog Democrats?
Yellow Dog.
Yellow Dog Democrats, who are really ultimately conservative in their hard work, common sense, and that kind of things. They might be a little more liberal when it comes to social.
Well, that means they're pro-abortion.
Could be, but he doesn't come out and talk about politics. That's the point. But he gets attacked, and
this is a good introduction to an article here, and this is kind of long, and maybe I'll skip through it. It's way too long to read. Well, I don't know. Maybe not if we don't have anything else to talk about.
I've got some stuff lined up.
Okay, good. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get us off topic here, and then we can come back to that.
Okay.
Because he's hitting a nerve. I mean, you guys who know me off the air know that I tend to be somewhat, unfortunately, too much like John Dvorak and being a curmudgeon, because I get really tired of all this crap that's floating around, the get-rich-quick stuff. And one of the most popular sayings that has been around for years is, do what you love and the money will follow. Have you ever heard that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish it was completely true, but
It's not true at all. And this guy nails it. He says, a few years ago, I did a special called The Dirty Truth. In it, I challenged the conventional wisdom of popular platitudes by offering dirtier, more individualistic alternatives. For my inspiration, I looked to those hackney-eyed bromides that hang on the walls of corporate America, the ones that extol passers-by to live up to their potential by dreaming bigger, working smarter, and being a better team player. In that context, I first saw Follow Your Passion displayed in the conference room of a telemarketing firm that employed me 30 years ago. The words appeared next to an image of a rainbow arcing gently, I can see the picture, arcing gently over a waterfall and disappearing into a field of butterflies. Thinking of it now still makes me want to throw up in my mouth. Like all bad advice, Follow Your Passion is routinely dispensed as though its wisdom were both incontrovertible and equally applicable to all. It's not. Just because you're passionate about something doesn't mean you won't suck at it. And just because you're determined to improve doesn't mean that you will. Does that mean you shouldn't pursue a thing you're passionate about? Of course not. The question is, for how long and to what end? When it comes to earning a living and being a productive member of society, people shouldn't limit their options to those vocations they feel passionate towards. I met a lot of people on dirty jobs who really loved their work, but very few of them dreamed of having the career they ultimately chose. I remember a very successful skeptic tank cleaner who told me his secret of success. I looked around to see where everyone else was headed, and then I went the opposite way, he said. Then I got good at my work. Then I found a way to love it. Then I got rich. Every time I watch the Oscars, I cringe when some famous movie star, trophy in hand, starts to deconstruct the secret to happiness. It's always the same thing, and I can never hit mute fast enough to escape the inevitable cliches. Don't give up on your dreams, kids, no matter what. Don't let anyone tell you that you don't have what it takes. And, of course, always follow your passion. Today, we have millions looking for work and millions of good jobs unfilled because people are simply not passionate about pursuing those particular opportunities. Do we really need Lady Gaga telling our kids that happiness and success can be theirs if only they follow their passion? And then he says, I'm fascinated by the beginning of American Idol. Every year, thousands of aspiring pop stars show up with great expectations, only to learn that they don't have anything close to the skills they thought they did. What's amazing to me isn't their lack of talent, it's their lack of awareness and the resulting shock of being rejected. How is it that so many people are so blind to their own limitations? How did these people get the impression that they could sing in the first place? Then again, is their incredulity really so different than the surprise of a college graduate who learns on his first interview that his double major in medieval studies and French literature doesn't guarantee him the job he expected? In a world where everyone gets a trophy, encouragement trumps honesty, and realistic expectations go out the window. And so anyway, the closing paragraph says, that's why I never advise anyone to follow their passion until I understand who they are, what they want, and why they want it. Even then, I'd be cautious. Passion is too important to be without, but too fickle to be guided by, which is why sirens in my neighborhood. That's
Is
it.
that you or somebody
It's
else?
here. I guess
Mike,
it's
they're coming for you. They heard you.
oh yeah. All right, but here's the payoff, which is why I'm more inclined to say, don't follow your passion, but always bring it with you. Could not agree with this guy more. But what he's saying is, don't just, you have people out there now, okay, I want to play video games for a living, and I'm not going to take a job until I can find a job playing video games that pays me $250,000 to $50,000 a year. That's not realistic. It will not net a position doing that. I don't care what anybody tells you. But I see this so often. People say, oh, do what you love, the money will follow. I mean, look at podcasters. Okay, they go out and they do 3 podcasts. Now they've decided they're going to live off of it. It just doesn't work that way, guys. It just doesn't work that way. I've never read anything that he's written. I find this to be quite good.
He's an amazing guy, and he's a very big advocate for technical training, specific like trade schools. He's trying to restart all this stuff now by creating a mindset that, no, you can be a plumber and be successful. You can be an electrician and be successful. You can be a laborer and build from that. And he said that everybody wants to jump to the top or jump right into some very specific niche skill that, like you say, is unattainable and will waste their time trying to get there and just see all the other opportunities just go by them. Yeah, he got into a kerfuffle recently because he went on Glenn Beck to talk about the state of the economy and jobs, and he found himself agreeing a lot. He goes, yeah, we don't agree on everything, but we agree on one thing, on how to get America out of this mess we're in. And they both agreed that, this is an important thing. We have to have trade schools. We have to have people taking pride in their work.
But who would ever disagree with that, Spence?
It's just that there's a whole element of society, like you say, that it's just he nailed it on the American Idol thing. I watch that every year. I watch the beginning, and I'm saying this show is just a giant setup to disappoint people. Because everybody's, I'm the best, I'm the best, I'm the best.
Yeah, part of these people are selected because they're so far out in the left field.
Oh, I realize.
There's very little on TV that's real. And I mean, this is from people, I've talked with camera guys who shoot these things and audio guys who work these shows, and they say, "Come on, it's TV, get over it."
I was not surprised, but didn't like to hear the fact that some of these Alaska reality shows, especially the one that's called Buying Wild Alaska, is staged, because I met people whose houses were used in the production of the show and they weren't selling their house.
Yeah,
It was all just put together. So
Whatever people want to watch.
that's right. If people want to watch something that's fake, like wrestling, go for it. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just a little it's very disingenuous for these people to sell them as being real when they're not. I mean, we even have shows that were shot in North Carolina that appeared to be real. And if you know anybody involved with them, you get the inside story. So,
What gets my goat is they call it entertainment.
well, that's what it is. It's certainly not educational.
Well, it's not true in reality either. They call it entertainment, but who are they trying to entertain? Mind-numbed people.
They're bankers, they're
It
stockholders.
doesn't matter as long as they are doing it and they're making money. That's who they're doing it for.
Well, the
you
biggest
see
problem
a
is
disturbing trend now with channels like the History Channel and Discovery Channel doing docudramas, and they're crap. It's not history anymore. It's an interpretation.
the biggest problem is that they put it on and many people sit down and watch it because there's nothing else on. They haven't been given a choice, so they look at what's the best of the worst. It's all rubbish, but they look at, well, what's the best out of all the rubbish that's on? We'll sit and watch that then. And then that gives them the viewing figures to make you think, well, they must like it. We'll make some more.
I was thinking this morning that never before in the history of the world has information been more readily available, but yet we have the unbelievably large population of people who don't know crap.
Here's one of the comments to this post. This guy says that Amazon warehouse pays $12 an hour and has called me 3 times a day for the past 2 weeks trying to get me to come in for an interview for a job, all from putting in an application online. According to them, they have thousands of local full-time positions available. Not saying that jobs are plentiful or that Amazon is really a good job, but $12 an hour isn't bad either. Not to mention, on my way home from work every day, I pass yard signs and window signs in businesses from restaurants to retailers, now hiring. Jobs are not in as short demand as many people want to believe. People's dream jobs may be in short demand, and I think that is why the unemployment rate is so high. Quote, I'm too good to work at McDonald's. I want to be an accounting, read literally. But the response to this is interesting. It says, the sad part is that people consider $12 an hour not bad. That's $24,960 a year if a person works 40 hours a week for all 52 weeks of the year. That is not a living wage in most places in America and barely living in the rest of the country. At what point did living in poverty become considered good?
Well, I'd like to answer that by saying my first full-time job paid $1.10 an hour.
Well,
I
that was
couldn't live on that,
more than you were worth.
but I worked my way up from that.
Yeah. Well, that was 140 years ago too.
That's
Those
right. That's true.
No, you got to start somewhere, and there's certainly reasons for a minimum wage jobs. $12 an hour for someone who with a high school degree who wants to go in and get to work and make some money and has a wife living at home or has a wife who's also working as a lawyer or a doctor. That's nothing wrong with that.
That's going to change very soon, though.
Why?
Because kids want the minimum wage higher.
But then they won't want to pay $12 for a Big Mac.
They don't know what they're getting into.
Well, that's true. I mean,
I'm taking a journalism class, and we've got all of these. Minimum wage needs to be $15 an hour, and that's fine until you lose your job, and then you'll be complaining that there's no jobs. So
You look at the latest job statistics that came out, the unemployment rate is down to 5.9.
Yeah,
It's
right.
not even close.
It's fake. I mean, they're not including people who left the workforce, which is almost 90 million people who aren't looking for a job, who aren't working. It's insane. The real unemployment rate would be between 11 and 12%.
It's over 12 from what I heard.
Yeah. If you measured it the way it used to be measured, but it's not politically expedient to do that anymore. So, but
And to be fair, that's a bipartisan complaint. Both sides do it.
oh, sure. No, I agree. but the statistic when they I kind of lost what I was going to say about this, but the point is though that the jobs that were created was about 260,000 jobs, but they're entry-level jobs. They're not career jobs per se. And the number of people who left the workforce in the same month were over 300,000. So it's a net loss.
It's worse than that, Spence. I was reading on Dave Ramsey's bulletin board a couple of days ago. One of the people there who is trying hard to get out of debt and try to get themselves on a firm financial footing was complaining that the boss on her fourth job was being a real jerk, and she wanted to know whether she could quit it. She's working 4 jobs. So all these menial labor jobs that are out there, where we've got all this hiring going on, a lot of the people that's out filling those positions are second and third jobs. That's not a good thing. The way to fix this whole problem is to get the economy on track, to get real job growth, to get real company growth. The mean, evil corporations are where the jobs come from, not the government. Whenever you get a lot of competition among companies for employees, the wages are going to go way up. Automatically, people are going to be able to find the jobs that they want to find, and the problem will be on the employers. Right now, it's a buyer's market, and it needs to turn into a seller's market. We are not any closer now than we were 5 years ago.
I remember the good old days in the mid-'90s when you would hire anybody with a pulse who was breathing, because there was just nobody to hire. You couldn't find people, and it was astounding. You'd take even the most mediocre person and just hire him because you needed the body. It's amazing.
Yeah, those were the days, right?
Yep. I just go ahead,
no, go ahead and finish. I'll let you finish.
I was going to say I have to find the article, but the Heritage Foundation came out with an article about what really brought us out of the last depression, because with the Roosevelt series that just went on, there's a bunch of disinformation that came out in that about the recovery from the depression, how it was the government that brought us out when it wasn't. It was World War II.
Well, that's an interesting comment, though, because I totally agree with that based on what I read, heard, and even talking with my father-in-law who lived through it. But the reality is that a lot of people, and I'm not, this is not a fully developed thought, so anybody who wants to attack it, have at it. But a lot of people were caught off guard by the Depression, just like if right now they're caught off guard. They don't have their resources in place. They like now the big problem is debt. Back then there were not the savings and the preparation they had, and for a lot of people the problem and the reason that argument is going to continue to be told and the lie will continue to be propagated is that the programs that FDR put in place did help a lot of people survive, and that's the problem that you're going to have fighting the argument. Now, whether that was bad for the country long term, whether the WPA and the infrastructure projects, whether the country could afford them, was it worth the debt and all that, that's a completely different argument, obviously. But there are a lot of people who were able to eat because of the government welfare programs. But even then, it's really funny to listen to modern politicians talk about how great FDR was because his programs required work. The ones now don't.
Yes, you're right. How politically incorrect that would be today to say, okay, we have this great program for you and we'll give you this much money, but you have to use a shovel and dig a ditch all week. That would be so demeaning. You would never ask anybody to do that today.
Yeah.
So who can talk about Windows 10? Who's got a story?
Well, Nick is the Windows expert.
I'm not talking about it.
Okay.
I have nothing to bring up.
Well, I've got a story. It says, at a press conference in San Francisco, Microsoft announced the new version of their flagship operating system called Windows 10. With the new version of the operating system, they'll be unifying the application platform for all devices, desktops, laptops, consoles, tablets, and phones. As early leaks showed, the Start menu is back. It's a hybrid of old and new, combining a list of applications with a small group of resizable tiles that can include widgets. Metro style apps can now each operate inside their own window. There's a new multiple desktop feature which power users have been demanding for years, and also a feature that lets user easily grab objects from the desktop and transfer it to another. The command line is even getting some love. The technical preview builds for desktops and laptops will be available through the Windows Insight Programmer. There already are, I think. They're requesting feedback from customers. Windows 10 will launch in late 2015. So it's already out there, and it's going to take a year before it will be launched. So, say it again.
As Mike has said there, there's talk out there that they won't be going with 9 because a lot of software looks for Windows 9 for 95, 98, 98
Yep.
second edition. So that's why they're going with Windows 10. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but that's the talk
I
out
read,
there.
yeah, I read that.
And also the command prompt is actually getting control copy and paste in the command prompt. Whoop-de-doo. How long have you been waiting for that?
Yeah,
Now that no one uses the command prompt anymore.
I do.
I still do occasionally, yeah.
Yeah. But so I guess that means that we are sort of like stuck with Windows 8 for another year, right?
Yeah, I can understand. I mean, if they're letting out a preview now, why isn't it going to be, sort of March, April next year? I mean, that's a whole year they're waiting now. I mean, the PC industry is screaming out at the moment, is not doing enough, and yet they're going to leave it another year?
Right.
Well, if PC manufacturers are going to be screaming.
We'll see. Mike, are you going to use the... Oh, Mike is not here. Another interesting story, and which is promising. An Israeli startup has developed a bioorganic material that uses tiny nanodot crystals to quickly store energy. Active smartphone users, at some point or another, inevitably find themselves tethered to an electrical outlet as their devices recharge. Those precious minutes can feel like hours. But if this startup makes good on its latest breakthrough, consumer will be able to charge and go in a matter of seconds. The technology, developed by nanotechnology firm StoreDot, was recently demonstrated at Microsoft ThinkNext Symposium in Tel Aviv. The new gadget relies on a brick-size battery pack, which the company claims moves electrical current more quickly than standard lithium batteries. Hold on, let me just do this. When the battery pack is connected to an external power source, as it is in this video that they were showing, a Samsung Galaxy S4, for instance, can go from nearly drained to fully juiced in 30 seconds flat. It's no secret that the relatively incremental advances in lithium-ion battery technology over the past few decades have done little to keep pace with the new generation of smart, power-hungry mobile devices that now include wearables such as the smartwatches and Google Glass. Thus far, the most promising efforts to extend battery life have involved experimental enhancements that passively harvest energy from the surrounding environment, such as wireless charging, touch screens with built-in solar cells, and piezoelectric systems designed to absorb kinetic energy. Yes, the battery pack that they were showing, and those of you that want to look at it, it's storedot.com. The domain name is storedot, STOREDOT. But it's not something that you have to carry with you. It's not really that big. I guess they're using small bricks in Israel because when you look at it, you see it's smaller, but it charged the phone in no time flat. Really, I mean, it's really nice. So if they have those things in charging stations, or I guess you could carry it with you. I don't know how many charges they'll give you. I didn't see any information about that. But to charge a Samsung Galaxy S4 in 30 seconds flat, that's impressive.
There was
Sounds
an MIT group of scientists came out with a similar approach to rapidly charging. I don't know if it was lithium ion. I'm pretty sure it was lithium ion batteries. But the point of it was that there were other technologies, for example, with cars, it takes overnight or longer to charge the batteries in a
Right.
car. And that this man had developed back, I don't remember how many years ago it was, but he developed a technology, a flywheel technology for a car,
Mhm.
to use a giant weighted balanced wheel to spin that up. But the problem was, even though it was a good idea, it was extremely dangerous because it was lost balance. If you were in an accident, it could just tear itself to pieces and kill everybody.
Whee!
But yeah, but he had developed a small turbine engine, a jet turbine engine that was tiny that would be used to run this flywheel up, and it would just run for a few seconds. Well, they wanted to apply that same idea to charging technology in a car. You remember that one of the early battery-powered cars actually had a generator that would follow on a little trailer? I think it was the something off of the Honda Insight, that original electric car that they had, before they
No.
had an engine in it. Before they had the technology, hybrid technology you have today, where the engine is also a generator. But
I mean, I never understood why they couldn't do that. I mean, this makes so much sense.
Well, the idea was to take this tiny jet turbine, which produced enormous amounts of energy very quickly, and flash charge the battery. So you'd be driving along, it would run for 5 seconds and give you a full charge. But the batteries just can't be charged that quickly. So if they can perfect this onto large scale, not just for handheld devices, but for other devices, that would be freaking amazing.
Tim's says it's like Star Trek stuff. I don't
I
think
look
in
incredible.
all my years of watching Star Trek I saw anybody charging their stuff and say, "Oh, sorry, I can't use it now. I need to charge it." But yeah, it's coming from movies like that and series like that and NASA and all that. But everybody wants that. Everybody wants to charge things, now. And maybe this will
When?
help get us closer to it.
When?
I've said this time and time again. There's been no innovations in batteries
Right.
forever.
Yeah.
When was the last time you heard something about a battery being? I mean, why does my
Nick,
phone not last
just-
a week and a half?
Lithium ion is a relatively recent development for the size that they have, and they've got new technology coming out with solar panels that are built-in batteries in the solar panel.
And
Yes.
They've got it's a sandwich where the solar panel and battery are one membrane. It's incredible what it was just announced this week.
It's just crazy that I've got a 4-core processor in my phone, but yet my battery life is still like 8 hours.
I quite often read where battery technologies and new developments and things are being developed, but you never get to see them when they actually come to market. There's plenty of work going on in the background, making all these fantastic claims, but you never actually get to see it to fruition. You never get to have it
Right.
actually in the product that you're buying.
It's like
So-
the Tesla car. Everybody admires it, but it's still just too expensive. If they can, and they've offered to give that technology. Isn't that the company that offered to hand that technology out to other people for free?
Well,
Who is
the
it?
charger,
Who
I
runs
think they open source, didn't they? The charging mechanism.
Who's the guy that founded Tesla? Is that Musk?
yeah,
Elon Musk.
Elon
Yeah.
Musk.
Yeah. So that's the kind of philanthropy high-tech people can get into. They don't have to necessarily give away money. If they give away technology, that's an amazing thing.
And remember about this story. This is not a new battery. This is a charger. They're not
Right.
talking about having a new battery for your phone. It's a charger that will charge your phone battery fast.
Wake me up when it comes to market, and I'll go out and buy one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Steve Gibson, the guy that does the security podcast and grc.com and SpinRite, he was talking on one of his podcasts about battery technology. That's where I learned about this gas turbine engine. But he talked about also developments in capacitors that will change things. That capacitors can be used as a power source, but they discharge so rapidly. They give everything off in a shot. They don't let it out like a battery would over time. And that they're trying to develop capacitors now that can be built in giant arrays that can be charged instantly and discharged slowly over time. And of course, when I mentioned this around my kids, they said, "Oh, a flux capacitor." I said, "Yes, a flux capacitor."
Yeah, that's what it is. Of course.
You just need to realign the dilithium crystals.
That's it.
She canny take it, Captain.
Another interesting story here. You may or may not remember this, but before the advent of reliable search engines, web listings used to be a popular way to organize the web. Yahoo had one of the more popular hierarchical website directories around. But on Friday, as part of its ongoing streamlining process, Yahoo announced that their 20-year-old web directory will be no more. While we're still committed to connecting users with the information they are passionate about, our business has evolved, and at the end of 2014, we will retire the Yahoo directory. I remember back in the in the 90s, that people,
1890s?
yeah, in the
1890s?
1890s. Yeah, I remember that 1890s too, and after, maybe in the no, it was in the late 90s, because by then when Yahoo started, everybody thought Yahoo is a search engine, and we used to say it's not a search engine. It's a listing. You can search the listing that they have there. And it was weird the way that it worked, but a lot of people used it as a search engine. There were others, I can't remember now. I mean, Google, I think, just started coming up. But there were some others, I can't remember the names now, that were actually search engines. And a lot of people did not know the difference between them. But obviously, Yahoo was very popular, and a lot of people used it. And it's gone. Is no more as of the end of the year.
Yahoo has about the worst email I've ever seen.
You're just a hater.
I am when it comes to Yahoo Mail. My daughter was using it, and we just had to blow it out and put her on Gmail, because I mean they at one point they didn't want to let you access it by POP. Then the phones came about. It was difficult to put it on your phone. They opened up
Well,
POP
it's
for
the
phones.
same thing that was with Gmail in the
It's
beginning,
terrible.
remember?
No, Gmail always allowed you to do POP.
Um,
I'm pretty sure.
All right, I've got another topic here.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, I find something good on Netflix to watch, and I found something good I watched something yesterday afternoon with a friend, and it is Mike, you'll find this interesting, and I think everybody will find this interesting. It's a Netflix documentary called Terms and Conditions May Apply. And it's 2013, July 12th of 2013. So pretty recent documentary.
Tell us about it.
And it's just essentially exactly what the title says. It goes through all of these different companies' terms and conditions, and what are you really saying when you click I accept and everything else. And it's interesting. I don't think it's meant to. It's not a scare documentary like, oh, look at Apple's going to steal all your stuff, or Microsoft or Google's going to steal all your stuff, but it's just a kind of information documentary, and it's pretty good. So if you've got Netflix, Terms and Conditions May Apply. Watch it now before it gets pulled off streaming, and it's also available on Google Play and Amazon for like $10.
Why would it be pulled off?
Well, Netflix from time to time just rotates what they stream. So if you're really interested, watch it sooner than later before it could potentially get pulled off.
And if you haven't watched, I never remember the name of the
Pandora's
show.
Promise.
No, besides that, that's a great one too.
That's a good one.
What is the fire?
What?
Well, come on. Let's name that Netflix show I watched with the
Blacklist, House of Cards.
no,
Orange is the New Red?
no. That's terrible.
I know, it's terrible.
Whatever this show is out of Canada, the police show that I like a lot.
I don't know.
Oh, Flashpoint?
Flashpoint, for heaven's sakes.
Heaven's
Guys,
sakes, you're. Never mind.
what?
Nothing.
If you have Netflix and you haven't watched Flashpoint, if you like police shows at all, and I generally don't, watch the first season. If you don't like the first season, you won't like the other four, because it's very consistent, very well written, very good surprises, excellent actors, excellent production quality. It was very enjoyable. Based in Toronto, the scenes from the I forget what they call these scenes where they shoot a bunch of them and use them when they're returning from the commercial breaks and so forth. And it's excellent. It's very good, and I thoroughly enjoyed watching the show, which I can't say that about a lot of them, particularly Scandal, which is garbage.
Hey, Mike, did you tweet about the show this morning?
I did not.
Okay, I'll do it now. It's fine.
I just finished binging on Boardwalk Empire. And again, I'm amazed that you can watch a show that is about such bad people and still enjoy it. It's kind of like Sons of Anarchy.
What is Boardwalk Empire, a TV series, movie?
It's an HBO series, but it showed up on Netflix now. The first 2 seasons, I think. It's got Steve Buscemi as a guy who runs a crooked operation in Atlantic City, starting in around 1920, and follows the progress through that. I think it's up into around 1930s now, when Prohibition was repealed. Shortly before that, but it shows how Prohibition built all these criminal empires.
What, called Congress?
Yeah, well, that's the funny part about it, is it's filled with political corruption, just senators and judges and policemen and congressmen all involved and all on the take. And
so for a change, something that's
weaves
actually
into
true.
different historic figures like Joseph Kennedy. Interesting.
Guys, I'm in the middle of typing. You keep going.
All right. I'm looking at something here. So we tend to talk about podcasting from time to time on this show, at least from the technical perspective.
Yep.
And I first have a Facebook question. And if you're not a regular Facebook user, you probably won't be able to answer the question. And so if Nick doesn't know here, that probably means somebody in the chat room may be able to tell me. I'm looking.
The answer is no, but okay.
Okay, I'm looking at a post here by a guy who posted in a podcasting group on Facebook. And beside his name is a little small gray circle that has a slash mark in it. He posted, he posted in the podcasting group, but if I put my mouse over this round gray circle with a slash in it, it says posts in the group, podcasting group, are not visible to this poster. Posts in this group are not visible to this poster. So if I read that correctly, it says that he's posting in the group, but he has the group somehow flagged so that the posts don't show up in his timeline, which makes him a spammer. Is that correct?
No, I don't believe so.
Then what does that mean?
So inside of the group, I don't know, but inside the group you can post to a certain subgroup of people.
He posted in the group, but the posts are not visible to him.
Well, then if the posts aren't visible to him, I'd kick him.
Well, it's not my group.
Oh.
But anyway, I digress.
Why don't no? Mike, I know what you should do here.
All right, here we go.
No, you should write a comment and ask him and ask him. Just tell him you see this little thing. It's the first time you've seen it. Ask him if he sees the post from the group. If he says no, then I'd contact the admin and say this guy's not even seeing any of our posts. I'd whack him.
Well, I'll tell you why I'm not. I want to read his post to you and tell me whether there's anything suspect about this post. Hello, everyone. That loses me right there.
That's Obama's line.
This is J.V. Crum III, host of Conscious Millionaire Podcast.
I think I've had enough.
I've rated 13 podcasts in the past 3 days and want to rate at least another 10 this weekend. It's my way of getting to know and support your podcasts, and a thank you for all the support for my launch. Now, are we all sitting down here? Here's the good part.
Ready.
After 17 days, we now have over 22,500 downloads and are growing. I'm also on the Pay It Forward sheet. Here is the link to be rated or reviewed.
Yeah, he's lying.
Well,
22,000 downloads in 17 days.
Yeah, he's lying.
Well, that was my initial reaction as well, Nick. But the fact of the matter is that if someone famous were to come along, or someone like these other success gurus or preachers or so forth come along, and they have millions of followers, if they were to come in and post something like that, they very well could pick up that many downloads in that short a period of time. However, if you research this guy and go to his website so that you can become a millionaire in 17 days, he has 3 and 4 followers here and 7 reviews over here. It just doesn't seem like it's there. And I listened to his podcast, and it sounds to me like they're using webcam microphones.
Well, never mind. No, he's full of it. And there's nobody going to his website. No.
I don't know. More power to him.
I'm looking at his website rank. He's got a global rank of 812,000.
That's U.S. or you said global?
That's global.
What's U.S.?
229,102.
Well, that's not as bad as it could be.
No, but that's not 22,000 downloads in 17 days. No way.
Yeah.
No way.
Well, we'll see.
There's nothing. I know
a bunch of people in the broadcasting business. I mean, what is it? Clear Channel just changed their name to iHeartMedia.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they've been partnered, but yeah.
No, they changed the
No, they just
corporate
changed
name.
the company, the actual company. Yeah.
Clear Channel is no longer Clear Channel. They're now iHeartMedia because they know where it's going. They really ought to buy this guy's services because he's figured out something that they would love to know how to generate that traffic to one of their streams.
This guy writes for the Post.
Yeah, Huffington Post. Who would want to pay any attention to what he says?
Well, no, but so 3 secrets to podcasting. He writes on the Huffington Post. So he may have gotten. No, I still don't believe he got 22,000 hits. I don't know. I don't believe it.
Well, there is something very beneficial and instructive here, guys. If you want to start a podcast, you're looking for a topic, you want to know how to build it, put the word millionaire in your title. It's an automatic success. No way you can fail.
Or
I
save
would.
the children.
So do we have to
I'm not-
change the show name to?
Yep. Millionaire is
I'm not, and if anybody that's a supporter of this guy, I'm not calling him a liar, but that is an unrealistic number.
if let's just say it this way, and I think Nick and I are agreeing on this. If it's real, if this is all true, good for you, and you need to bottle it and sell it.
If this is true, this guy should be making millions and millions of dollars consulting people how to do it. But it's most likely not true.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you do 17 episodes and you've got 22,000 people listening? No, I don't buy it. I'm sorry.
Well, he said 17 days, not 17 episodes.
Oh. Yeah, but I mean, look at the guy website. Become the first millionaire in your family. 20% off the best-selling millionaire. Learn how to maximize your results now. I mean, it's
Same old, same old.
He's selling services, and there's nothing wrong with it. But he's got 0 likes on Facebook. Oh no, well, I guess this counted. He's got 1,000 likes on Facebook.
Discover the 7 steps to 7 figures, free. First Millionaire Manifesto. All right, Nick, I'm going to buy this for you, and I want to chart your success on a daily basis. I want to see how long it takes you to make $1 million.
You have 17 days.
Well, all right. So as a public service, let's go into some of these steps here. You ready?
I'm ready.
Oh
All right.
boy. Oh, there we
Get
go.
You got paper there, Amnon?
Yeah.
I've got
All
paper too. I'm
You got a
ready.
pencil?
Yeah.
All right. Key number 1, acknowledge your greatness. Become aware of the amazing opportunity you have right now to make a positive difference for others and humanity. Imagine yourself taking your current knowledge, skills, and passion and using them to build a high-profit business. Express your greatness to build an amazing life and business. Did you get that?
I did.
All
Oh
right,
yeah,
key
every
2.
word of it.
All right. Key 2. I can give you the link.
Why?
Key
Why
2.
would I want to?
Well, Amnon, don't be a hater.
Okay, go ahead.
Hold
Key
on.
2.
Before you go into this,
All right.
for like people that are listening aren't in the don't know you like myself, Amnon, how we talk to you about this stuff. This is the reason that we are doing this is because every podcaster that does this get rich quick, become a millionaire thing is they're totally full of themselves for the most part. They're spewing lies and they're unfortunately giving false hope to people that, hey, did you just get unemployed from your job? Or did you just get laid off from your job? Don't worry. Within a month and a half, you'll have 10 trillion people downloading your podcast, and that's just kind of the trend. So when we're looking at this stuff, this is the same garbage that everybody is saying. It's
Okay, but let's qualify now. This guy is not saying do this by podcasting. He's talking about in
Correct.
life in general.
Correct.
But you're right that a lot of people in the podcasting business are doing this, which is why I am no longer a podcasting consultant. I am out of the business. I am done with it. I only help the people who listen to Computers 2K now if they ask me nicely. All right, so
Help
key
me.
2. Now, Dr. John said not go so fast. He's writing it down. John, I'm going to send you a link. Don't.
Yeah.
All right. So here's key 2. Are you that was 7?
Shorthand.
All right. You ready?
Go ahead.
Key 2. Create a success mindset. Develop a mindset that empowers you to build the precise amount of revenue, profits, and net worth that you may only dream of today. Expand your consciousness of what is possible and shift your beliefs to become completely aligned with your best vision of yourself and business. Did you get it?
I got it all.
All right.
Well, your
Was that your tape recorder
enthusiasm
rolling,
sold me,
Amnon?
Mike.
The what?
Don't erase over what we just did. That was pretty good.
That was Amnon's tape recorder.
Develop, use a proven wealth formula. Success is not an accident. Entrepreneurs who achieve greatness all follow a consistent method. They use a repeatable, proven set of steps to achieve predictable results. Discover the simple 3-step formula for creating wealth you can use to build any size business. Where can I get that formula for creating wealth? The simple 3-step one. Wonder where I can get that.
That guy's website?
I don't know. It doesn't say. Key 4, develop a profit vehicle.
Boy.
The purpose of your business model is to provide a vehicle for making your difference and creating profits. It is the precise products or services you will provide and how you will provide them. Without a well-developed profit vehicle, you cannot generate strong profits. So did that just say you have to have something to sell?
Yeah.
Okay. Key 5, select the right clients. Who would you most enjoy working with as a client? Hint, ones with money. Which of these people are eager to experience the difference you are here to make? These are the clients who will be excited to buy what you are selling. These are the clients that are right for you. Well, but see, part of that, I don't like the way he said it, but what he's saying there is identify your target market. And that's a critical business step.
That is, and that's for anything. Of course
Yeah.
you have to identify your business market.
So we'll give him that one. I don't like the way he said it. Select the right clients. My clients, the ones I pick, have money. Implement fast result marketing. Attract streams of your ideal prospects and then convert them to high-paying customers. Develop an effective sales funnel that brings traffic from multiple places. Then deliver exceptional value that keeps your customers coming back to buy more and telling others. All right, and that is to be sure to take your vitamins every day, of course. Give back to our world. Now, this is key 7 to becoming a 7-figure income. 7 figures, for those of you who are certain voter persuasion, 7 figures means $1 million or more.
He wants you to give back to him.
Give back to our world. As a change agent who wants to make a big difference, growing a profitable business provides you with the resources to give back and create change. Select a nonprofit you want to help and then develop a give back program in your business. Which cause will you help?
There's nothing fundamentally wrong with anything he said.
I agree.
It's all got to do. This is like going to business school and trying to take notes on one page for the whole 4-year experience.
Well, and let me expand on what you just said, Spence. Look, there are some people who don't know anything about business, who have what Zig Ziglar constantly referred to as stinking thinking, and who could probably benefit
Was that
from
thinking
this
thinking?
stuff. Stinking
Stinking.
thinking.
Oh.
Thinking, yeah.
And could benefit from some of this rah-rah. I get that. Now, I don't know what he's charging for this. If it's free and you read this kind of stuff and it motivates you, go for it. I'm not being critical of what he's offering, but if what gets me is the people who read this stuff and think that it's as simple as following 7 keys to 7-figure income. I mean, that's the same article we just read by Mike Rowe. It just ain't so. If you're going to go out, if you want to make a living, I don't know, make up something.
Brain surgeon.
Selling vacuums.
Let me take a better example than that. You want to get rich driving a tour bus in Alaska.
Oh.
Okay.
Which I'm not sure of.
Well, it can be done, Spence. And how do you do that? Look, if you don't like this thought process, have at it.
Oh no, I like it. I can, now that I see what the business is like under the covers, I realize what
Exactly. So what happens here Let's suppose that you decide that you want to get rich driving a tour bus in Alaska. How do you do that? The first thing you do is you go do it and learn the business so that you learn the ins and outs. Next, you learn, is there a market to be able to add additional resources? If there are, then how do you get your first bus? How much do you have to charge? How much money do you have to make to be able to buy a second one? How long before you're up to 20 buses and 40 drivers, and you can pick and choose which bus you want to drive on which route? You have now just made yourself a millionaire driving a tour bus.
Yep.
So positive thinking is critical in that. If you say, oh, it'll never happen, it's not going to happen, it won't happen. But if you, even following this stuff that this guy pumps, if you take some of these ideas and put them together and go out and make it happen, you can. But here's a cold hard fact. If you go up there and find out that the business is saturated, your odds of success go down dramatically. Does that mean you should quit? Not necessarily, but that also means that to be successful, you're going to have to go put out some other people out of business. That is much harder than coming in and filling a need. Much, much harder, particularly when they got there first.
Yeah, that's like the simplification of go out and find something that you like to do and do it better than anybody else. That's the same. It's the simplification of it that makes it so dangerous.
I like the way you just said that, and I agree. And that's exactly to the point why I'm reading this guy's stuff with a little tongue-in-cheek here. Not because like you said, it's not because anything he said is wrong. It's just that the gross simplification, in my opinion, is misleading.
Yep.
It's a heck of a lot harder than you would think from this. Well, this is just the first part. I'm just trying to get people to open their minds and to think about what they can do. Okay, go for it. But if this is $97 for a package to become a millionaire, why are you pumping this stuff on Facebook?
I just spoke to a friend who I used to work with who's currently out of work, who wanted me to evaluate this organization he found that's supposed to be a way of getting it back into the telecommunications consulting. Mm. So right away I'm thinking, a little skeptical about this thing, because what you do is you sign up with them, you pay them, and they provide you with leads, and the whole they give examples of people that you make this much the first month and that much the second month and that much the third month, and I'm like, alarm bells are going off in my head. And then I got to the punchline. I was like, how much does it cost for you to sign up with this company that will put you out there as a telecommunications consultant? $45,000. Mm-hmm. It's crap. It's just if you're worth it as a consultant, you start small. I follow the Dave Ramsey method. Do it in your garage in your spare time, and see if it makes money. Start small, and to throw that kind of money after something, you may be a terrible consultant.
You may hate it.
Yeah, you may hate it. You may. There's so much that can go against it, but just they're being misled by these testimonials. Oh, I did this. I made $5,000 my first month, and then $10,000 my second month, and now I'm making, $15,000, $20,000 a month consulting, and I have customers out the wazoo. And yeah, and then you see at the bottom, the disclaimer said these results not normal. These are not the typical results.
0.05% of the people who subscribe to our program are successful at this level.
Yeah.
But see what a lot of what these guys do, and this has nothing to do with JV or whatever his name is. I don't know anything about the guy, and he looks credible. He's got a nice suit, nice tie. I like his tie. But he, what happened whenever this has been, 25 years ago, a buddy of mine got sucked into an Amway deal. And he called me, and his tone of voice was very different than I've ever heard him talk to me before. And he started, and I said, he hadn't not been talking 3 minutes, and I knew something was up. And he started telling me about this great opportunity that he just learned about this past week, and he was going to do it. And by the way, what were my goals in life for the future? And yada da 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 da.
Uh-huh.
And I knew within 30 seconds what he was up to, and I let him talk and go through his spiel, and I hated to rain on his parade, but finally I said, maybe it's going to work for you, but I'm not interested. It's my opinion that this is not something that's going to be good for me. And honest to God, I'll never forget what he said. Don't know the exact words, but he's saying, yes, they warned us about people like you who have a negative attitude about things, and if you don't believe it will work, it won't work, so it's probably best that you not undertake it.
Yeah.
And I said, you're absolutely right. I guess I don't have the right attitude.
But you think about it, that's a really clever way of insulating people from negative reactions to keep them going for even if it's just a while longer.
But Spencer, you know, like I do, there is some truth to the statement.
Oh no, there is, and that's what I'm saying. It's a very clever way to isolate, because if you keep hearing that and keep hearing that and keep hearing that, and you're told you're going to hear it, you're going to stay with it longer than if you didn't hear that.
And yeah, I mean, I've seen that, and I get that, but no, I'm not going to go out and sell soap. But that's my pet peeve, is to see these guys doing it, and I'm getting to the point now where I'm going to do what Eric says, and I'm going to just mind my own business and let people learn. And the reason I came to this conclusion over the last couple of weeks is I don't remember exactly where, but I went back through some old notes and some things I had from about 30 years ago, some things I found, and I'm going through it and reading through what was going on at the time. And the routine hasn't changed. It's all the same crap that people are trying to sell. And I'm just looking at it and realize that I learned better 30 years ago. And now it's a new generation. This new generation, they're not going to listen to us old guys warn them about getting, I mean, Nick has listened. I don't know why, but he has. But he's listened to these warnings about snake oil salesmen. But there's so many people out there. They just, it's like some of these bogus miracle cures for diseases. People want them to work so badly, they'll try them. They'll undertake the risk of avoiding normal medical care, which really can't help them anyway, thinking that a certain avocado extract is going to cure cancer or something of that nature. So people are not, you can't tell people, they're going to have to learn on their own, and so maybe they just have to get burned a couple of times to realize what the truth is.
All right. I wish Andrew would come in here.
Alan said that.
He's on vacation.
Well, Alan was talking about Amway. He said, I never understood was that there's nothing wrong with their products. That's not necessarily true, Alan, because they, like any manufacturer, have good products and bad products. And it was interesting that at one point, one of their soap products was creating some pretty serious problems, that the stuff was not water soluble or something like that. So it was not cleaning the clothes in the washing machine and was depositing soap on the clothes that would not come out, as I recall, something like that. I don't recall exactly what it was, but I mean, they had good products and bad products, like any company, I guess.
Or correct, like every other company. It's not. They don't have any anything special about them. I mean, I was in Amway when I lived in New York.
Uh-huh.
It was. I mean, I was here a year, and it seems like, oh boy, yeah, do it. And somebody talked me into it, and went there. But after seeing what was going on in there, I said, what is that? I mean, the pressure and you have to do this, you have to do that. Forget it.
Well, I was actually, strangely enough, when people say, I was actually signed up for a multi-level back in the 80s, but for a different reason. There was a company, I don't even know if they're still around, but there was a company called Meadow Fresh. Do you remember them?
No.
They were selling a milk substitute. It was made from milk whey instead of whatever the standard is. Their chocolate milk substitute was so far superior to regular chocolate milk that we signed up just to be able to buy it, and we bought it regularly. Our kids loved it. They drank it like crazy. I never tried to get anybody to buy any or anything like that because I wasn't into the multi-level part of it. But technically, I was part of a multi-level because we used to buy the product from them.
Yeah. Somebody made money because you were buying it.
And they apparently went out of business.
Well, The people that start in the beginning make money. The people that come afterwards it's like a ant farm. Let's see. In 2002, eBay bought PayPal for $1.5 billion in stock. Nowadays, PayPal's yearly revenue exceeds $7 billion, and investors are worried that eBay and PayPal together are too big to compete effectively. They also are too big to be acquired, which is on their minds after the ludicrously successful Alibaba IPO. To solve that problem, eBay today announced it will be spinning off PayPal in 2015. So PayPal is not going to be part of eBay anymore, creating two separate publicly traded companies. It says that eBay's current CEO is stepping down, and each of the companies will have a new CEO. eBay and PayPal will sign arm's length commercial operating agreements to work together with payments on both sides for various. So it's going to be two companies. I mean, it was interesting to follow that. Go ahead.
Hasn't PayPal lost a lot of credibility? I noticed I sold a car when I was leaving Fairbanks to come home, and I got at least 3 scams.
Oh, a lot
of them came. Some of them came by text. Some of them came by, and normally the scam is we'll send you a check and you'll get there'll be an overage, but now they're using PayPal.
There's a reason they're using PayPal, and I can speak firsthand for it.
Tell us.
There's a problem with PayPal, and it's referred to as a chargeback. So, Spence, let's use your car example here. So, car's not a good example. All right, here, let's use a website. So I quote Amnon $500 for a website. I build the website. He pays me $500. I deliver the website. He's happy with it. He says, thank you. We don't talk again. 6 months down the road, I get an email from PayPal telling me that Amnon has disputed, Amnon has disputed the charge, and instantly PayPal will take the money out of my account and give it back to Amnon without any hesitation. They don't contact me first to see anything. It's just Amnon questioned it. He gets the money right back, and now I've got to fight. I've got to fight totally for it, and I most of the time will never win.
Yeah, they're
so
always
very serious problem.
They always side with the buyer. I don't know why they're doing it, and they have the power to do it because they have access to your bank account. They have access to your money there. And
when I did some research on it to see, I knew that it was a scam because the people said, one person in particular said, "Oh, I'm moving there. I'm not there yet." So right away the alarm bells go off, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I went and looked. I said, "PayPal Craigslist scam," and this was so elaborate. It wasn't a chargeback. They were actually setting up fake PayPal pages, and you would get a fake acknowledgement that looked like it came from PayPal to say that the money was put into your account. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, well, this would have to be unless they're paying you too much and expecting money back, how would they deal with stealing a car? Obviously, you have to transfer the title to somebody. It's just, I didn't get that far into it. I just told them, no, face-to-face sales only, cash. And just left it at that. Mm-hmm. But just the elaborate nature of this, and you could tell too from the grammar. The grammar was not correct in all the correspondence, so you knew something was going on.
Yep.
And the calls from India. Can you tell me if your car is still available? No.
You do have to be careful, and if you are careful and you recognize that something is kind of fishy, then there's nothing wrong about using Craigslist. I buy stuff on Craigslist.
Great. That's how I sold the car.
Yeah.
I sold my Impala 6 months before that, same way. Same that next morning, cash, the car was gone.
Yeah.
It's just as if you know how to use it, it's great.
Okay, everybody. Here's something. Is Andrew still here?
Probably
I don't
not.
know.
Maybe.
But before you go on, Amnon.
Yeah.
Alan is saying this is why dodgy companies write in these terms of service that they will come down hard on all criticism and chargebacks, even those that are completely warranted. It doesn't matter what they write in their terms of service. You agree to PayPal's terms of service. Right. If there's a chargeback, you're screwed.
Yep. Researchers have found that a chemical found in hops may actually improve memory. Unfortunately, a person would need to drink 3,520 pints of beer a day to get high enough dose.
No problem.
Of the
I'll give it a
chemical
go.
What's wrong with that?
to boost their brain power. A daunting task for even the most enthusiastic Oktoberfest participants.
So you can say then that all these people hanging out in pubs are all trying to improve themselves.
Yeah, they remember everything, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Set a positive goal and work towards it.
Amazing.
Just 7 steps and you're there.
Oh, boy. All right. What else?
Oh, by the way, I have specials, so
Oh, you do?
I do.
Oh my God, it's so great. We're back. We're finally back.
We
You wanna
are
go
not
with it?
worthy.
Oh, when you're ready. I just didn't want to get to 11 and
11 o'clock is better.
Okay.
11 better. Okay.
All right, Mike.
11 o'clock.
Mike's the overlord of the show.
Well, I'm actually.
Oh, I thought
You
you
can
had
do
a
it.
story to talk about when you say, okay, Mike.
People tune in just for specials, and that's why we need to do it regularly at 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Dr. John. Yeah, Fairbanks. It's unfortunate. There's only one office store there. I think it's Office Max. And the other stores are all.
But you can go to the grocery store and buy a gun, right?
You can. And
Nick, I'm signing you up to be a millionaire. Which email address do you want me to use?
I swear to God, you better not.
Lord, most people would just say thank you.
No, I don't need my email blowing up with that stuff. Don't start a war.
All right. If you don't want the money, I'll sign. That's all right. I'll sign Amnon up.
Sign
Amnon up. Money either.
Thank you very much, sir.
I don't need any more spam. I already get
All
enough.
right. How about awaken your greatness?
No, I've had enough. That sounds like a show that Amnon does. Don't you do a show called that, Amnon?
Which
Awaken
one are
Your
you talking about?
Something Awaken Your Brilliance?
Oh, that's no longer. No more.
Here we go. Mastermind program.
Yeah. Talking about things that have gone by the wayside.
Yeah.
Although it has been fading for years, the final death knell came recently for the iconic Lotus 123. In many ways, Lotus 123 launched the PC era and ensured the Apple II success, and once was a serious competitor to Excel, and prior to that, Multiplan and VisiCalc, for those of you that remember that. Although I doubt if anyone is creating new Lotus 123 spreadsheets, I'm sure there are spreadsheets still being used who trace their origin to Lotus 123, and even Office 2013 still has some functions and key compatibility with Lotus 123. Oh, how far the mighty have fallen. I remember, I think I still have Multiplan on the shelf. Just to keep. But that's really things, I mean, things are just disappearing. We don't need them anymore, I guess. And those of you with drives and Google Drives and whatever drives, Google has fired back at Microsoft with cheaper cloud services, signaling another round of price cutting in an increasingly competitive market. Citing enhanced efficiency in its data centers as well as falling hardware costs. Google on Wednesday said it was cutting prices of its Google Compute Engine by about 10% for all instance types or in every region. Rival Microsoft announced last week cuts in the price for some of its Azure services available when purchased directly through its website. The current price cut by Google is expected to be followed by one by AWS. Microsoft has also previously said it will match Amazon's prices in commodity services. So they are lowering the prices and lowering prices, and it's good for us. Do you think that means that reliability is going down? Do you think that could have any bad impact on us using cloud storage if it goes down to a point where they just lowering it in order to fight with others? What do you think? Nick, this is just for you.
What's just for me?
You heard it.
No, I didn't. I just got back.
No, didn't you just hear what I did?
No, I didn't. Oh, you crumpled up paper and threw it in the garbage. You're killing the
That's
environment.
right. That's right. Spence, you were talking.
Sorry.
What, Spence?
I'd say, why would muting my microphone make me go as live in the Google
No,
Hangout
it's
box?
not as live. It's because you came in. Remember, on the Hangout, whoever makes a sound, it
but I
pops
muted
you.
my
It pops you
microphone
there. Well, I mean, you were there to begin with.
Ah, okay.
You see.
Yes, sir.
Now, Spence, this is something that maybe you want to talk about since you asked me about the USB problem.
Oh,
Did
yeah.
you read about it?
Yes.
So I'll let you talk about it instead of just reading a story.
Yeah, the story came out in July about an exploit that was in the controller for USB devices, for the actual, either the flash drive or the, whatever the device was, keyboard, that there's an exploit that can be written, the controller can actually have code updated to it, and then it will act as a bot or as a worm or whatever you want to say when you plug it into the device. So the danger is not so much that you can have your current USB devices infected unless you have one of these bad controllers introduced. But the code for this was not available. It was referred to, but they didn't reveal it to the public. Well, now the code is available. And there's a kit out there that will let you take a USB device and turn it into a Trojan horse device. And they're wondering now if this is actually going to make the industry do something to try to change and create either a bit of software that sits inside the computer that turns off certain functions from the USB. Like, why would your keyboard ever have to do a write to your system, for example? So they're looking at a way to create an initial prevention for it, and then potentially redesigning USB devices and doing away with the controller completely and having some type of new technology, because it really needs to be refreshed. But that was something that came out this week, is that the actual code, the exploit has been published. So expect to see something out there. You remember a number of years ago when we talked about the people finding USB drives in a parking lot? Oh, this is a bonus. Great, I'll take it home and I'll use it. And they don't realize that it's got malicious code on it. Well, this goes even deeper. It's not just code stored in the file system on the USB. It's actual malicious code in the controller itself.
Well,
very hard to stop because your virus software is not going to see it. It's like a,
somebody
it's like a
somebody
widget.
posted a some kind of a um, link to some device that was called USB condom. I don't remember who put it. It may have been in Dave's computer tips or something. But anyway, it was
Well,
interesting.
they
It
mentioned
goes,
it. They mentioned it as a concept
yeah,
because you could put essentially a man-in-the-middle device.
right.
You would plug this into your USB slot, and then you would plug the USB device into this device, and it would in turn be like a firewall for preventing the controller from talking to or maliciously talking to the operating system. Because it's going to talk at a much lower level than operating system software. It's going to talk through BIOS or through a direct pipeline to memory potentially.
Yeah. Listen to this. Marriott will cough up $600,000 in penalties after being caught blocking mobile hotspots so that guests would have to pay for its own Wi-Fi services. The FCC has confirmed. The fine comes after staff at the Gaylord Opryland Hotel and Convention Center in Nashville, Tennessee, were found to be jamming individual hotspots and then charging people up to $1,000 per device to get online. Marriott has been operating the center since 2012 and is believed to have been running its interruption scheme since then. The first complaint to the FCC, however, wasn't until March 2013 when one guest warned the commission that they suspected their hardware had been jammed. So this is really tricky. Hotels, I mean, jammers are illegal, right? In the States.
Correct.
Without a license, they're illegal, correct?
I don't
what?
think you can get a license. 'Cause they
There's
won't
no
let you do
such thing as
broadcasting
getting a
general.
license.
Okay. Okay.
And here it is, a big hotel does it, and I don't understand that. $1,000 is that possible?
For the convention center.
What?
Convention center. Exhibitors.
$1,000?
Yeah, exhibitors, yes. I ran into this in Vegas, the last trade show I did.
Yeah,
where
I
they were-
absolutely love, and that, by the way, I like Marriott. I think they seem to do things right. I've had good experiences with them over the last few years. Having said that, their response to this thing was absolutely hilarious. They said, I'm paraphrasing here, they said that they did it so that they could make sure that their guests were not subject to poor quality reception of the internet. They wanted to make sure they all got good quality internet, so they provided it for them.
Jeez.
It's like I was sitting in a business meeting one time about 25 years ago, and our company had just lost a major customer.
Mhm.
And the manager of the business stood up in front of everyone and with a straight face said, let's look at the positive side. Even though we won't have them as a customer anymore, we now have a great opportunity to go out and get new customers. I'm going to throw out my chair.
The situation I ran into in Vegas was we had purchased a kiosk at a trade show. It was an IBM trade show, and they sent out a notice saying, please don't use any unauthorized Wi-Fi access points because it'll flood the network and we'll have too much interference. Well, that was really all they said. They didn't. There may have been something in the terms of agreement that I did not see because I didn't sign that agreement. And during the night, because my Wi-Fi access point was actually placed underneath on a shelf inside our little kiosk, they came and confiscated it. So it broke my demo because not only was that Wi-Fi access point my hub or switch that I used to talk, I needed the wireless devices and to show my demo. So I had to argue with them to get it back. And finally, I had to have the person who signed up for the convention for us go to bat to say, no, you broke our demo by confiscating this. You never told us you would take it away from us. So they had to give in, but they were trying to be.
I would have called the cops and reported it stolen.
Well, they countered by saying, "Oh no, you agreed to this."
Prove it.
No. This is what the people at the convention said. The people were. It was to IBM's credit. It was not them that were enforcing this. It was the company that was hired to handle the infrastructure at the show. Yeah, and Alan, had it been my choice, I would have packed up and left. But I was just working there, and they paid a lot of money to be there. We fixed it. We got it to work. And they had to back down from that policy because everybody was complaining. But it was just trying to enforce something that was unenforceable.
Well, it's in essence what I read in that Marriott article is that the FCC said you don't have the right to regulate what comes through the air. That's our domain.
Yep.
What got me with that story was that they still insist that they weren't doing anything illegal.
You know what? They never specifically said in any article that I read. I don't know whether you guys saw it written somewhere, but in nowhere that I read did they admit to using an RF jammer.
No, they didn't. Not the ones I saw anyway.
How can they selectively jam? That's interesting.
That would be very easy. You pick the frequencies that you're on, you determine the bandwidth of the transmission of the signal, and you can totally jam any other frequencies.
But that would limit their own system from working properly because they'd have to jam all of the frequencies except the one that they were going to allow.
Correct.
And that would mean that their own system would be essentially dumbed down to being almost useless. Because if you're limiting your Wi-Fi to one single frequency throughout the entire location, that's going to be horrible performance because everybody's on the same frequency.
That's a good point there. That's
True,
a good
but then they're
point,
still getting
but-
£1,000 a day, aren't they? So they're not really that bothered.
Because the whole idea of handing off from one access point to the next, and the whole way that mesh is built, relies on there being different frequencies available.
But to add to this though, Spence, Marshall goes to a lot of those things, and in most cases, exhibitors actually they don't go with Wi-Fi, they get Ethernet wire.
Which is, yes, and that's an alternative, but that's typically much more expensive.
I don't know. I mean, he had his choice. I mean, it was like maybe in the beginning of the year, and I remember there was no difference in the thing.
Typically, they'll say Wi-Fi will be listed as casual access. If you're going to do any kind of a dedicated demo where you have to build a VPN back to your home base, you have to have a wired connection because it's not going to work.
Right, and what he was doing, he always got that, and he put a router there, and
set up his own Wi-Fi. Yeah.
And he was on Wi-Fi for other devices, but no, you know what? I remember something. I told him to actually get a B router.
Yeah, it's a good idea because not many people are using A still.
And I
today.
think that's how it worked. I think one time he said that it wouldn't work. So I told him to get a B because of that, and it worked. Yeah. But, I mean, they're trying to make money. And it's the same, the same thing that about people are worried that they're not going to make money. Here's an interesting story also. Incremental improvement have been slowly but surely pushing solar power toward mainstream viability for a few decades now. It's getting to the point where the established utilities are worried about the financial hit they're likely to take, and they're working to prevent it. These solar households are now buying less and less electricity, but the utilities still have to manage the cost of connecting them to the grid. Indeed, a new study from Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory argues that this trend could put utilities in dire financial straits. Listen to this. If rooftop solar were to grab 10% of the market over the next decade, utility earnings could decline as much as 41%. I don't get that. If it's only 10% of the market, how can it be 41% decline?
Of earnings, not of gross, of earnings.
Well,
that's big difference.
Oh, that's
you can
true.
Have a
it's earnings.
Oh, okay,
business
okay.
I
got
lose
you. 100% of your profit.
Yes. Okay, I missed that here.
Yeah.
The utilities are throwing their weight behind political groups seeking to end subsidies for solar and make net metering policies go away. Studies suggest that if solar adoption continues growing at its current rate, incumbents will be forced to raise their prices, which would only persuade more people to switch to solar. So they're worried that they're going to lose money, and they're trying to do everything to stop it. I thought in our area, CP&L or Duke or whatever were giving incentives for people to do solar, or was it the taxes?
I think as I recall, the law actually forced Duke to buy surplus energy back from people. That was precluded.
No, I'm talking about for people to install solar, to switch.
Yeah, there was federal tax money.
Yeah, it's the federal.
Okay, maybe it is. I thought it was.
And the solar companies are out there hawking it and so forth, but the really. I mean, at some level, solar, wind, and all that, they're good at helping take some peaks off. And if you are really smart and technically inclined and want to go out and engineer systems to do certain things consistent with your own lifestyle, they can be useful. But a fact of the matter is that until we have better storage medium than the present battery situations that are available, until we have ways of converting that DC power back to AC power over the long haul. All these things are supplemental, and I actually heard an argument that was logical and that did favor, for example, using solar panels to heat water in your home.
Mm-hmm.
What it said was that whenever people say, what's the payback on this solar system? It's 20 years. And then there's followed by this guffaw about, 20 years to pay back. That's a good investment. But in reality, if you compare that with some other investments, if you were to take $10,000 and put it in various investments, that in many cases, the solar payback is faster than it would be for, say, mutual funds or some of the other lower producing investments. And if you look at it in that way, it actually does make some sense for those types of investors, and that without even looking at the energy independence aspects.
Well,
there was a very interesting store in Fairbanks that sold alternative energy for people who wanted to be off the grid or at least supplement. And they had some very breaking, cutting edge technologies available for people who wanted to have a dry cabin, for example, off in the woods with no connections to the outside world. They had some very attractive solar, although solar in the wintertime is not very useful up there, wind and small water generating capabilities that were actually pretty attractive. But again, the cost.
Yep. It's I mean, as far as heating water, ever since I was a kid in Israel, everybody on the rooftops of the apartment buildings, you could and you can still see it today. Just solar collectors with a big tank. It was just for heating the water. It involved no electricity. It was just to heat the water, and there's just a pipe going inside it and getting hot and pushing it into the tank. And I guess there was a pump or something just circulating it. So that's not new. But with electricity, that's a different story, I guess. I mean, you can't charge the utility for hot water, can you? What was I looking at?
On another distraction, going back to Paul Revere and the Raiders, for anyone here who gives a crap about music trivia, it turns out that Paul Revere and the Raiders recorded their smash hit Kicks when their guitar player, Drake Levine, noticed that Roger McGuinn had left his Rickenbacker 12-string guitar in the recording studio from the night before. He strapped it on, and the rest is rock and roll history. So that's how a sound came into being, because of a quirk about the way things go on in life. So he picks up this guitar, which is an interesting story in and of itself, and its own. I never knew that Roger's a friend of mine. I never knew that guitar was played on a Paul Revere and the Raiders song, especially since most of the Paul Revere and the Raiders songs were really the Wrecking Crew out of Los Angeles, but that's another story. All right, back to your regularly scheduled program.
Back to your regularly scheduled. Google is looking to exert more pressure on device OEMs that wish to continue using the Android mobile operating system. Among the new requirements for many partners, increasing the number of Google apps that must be pre-installed on the device to as many as 20. Placing more Google apps on the home screen or in a prominent icon folder, and making Google search more prominent. Earlier this year, Google laid its vision to reduce fragmentation by forcing OEMs to ship new devices with more recent versions of Android. Those OEMs that choose not to comply lose access to Google Mobile Services, GMS, apps like Gmail, Google Play, and YouTube. So they're finding ways of doing this and getting more of their name in front of people, but it's their OS. I mean, do you see anything wrong with that other than, it's a pain in the butt? But do you see anything wrong with them doing this?
If they were Microsoft, they'd probably be under. Well, I take that back. I was going to say Microsoft is so big, but so is Google. Eventually somebody, if they weren't greasing the right political palms, they would be subject to a monopoly lawsuit.
Yeah.
But because they get a pass because they're on board with so many other issues that their wealth gets ignored.
Well, I mean, really, I don't see anything wrong with them doing it with their own operating system. All right, Spence, you want to go with the specials?
I do. And I will.
I need to find a.
Right. I got to go back to my. Well, it looks a little wonky there, but
yeah, we missed that.
Yeah, I noticed that my chroma is not working exactly right. I got a little. My eyes are sparkly though. That's nice. You can't get that normally. All right. So it's interesting with the final merging of Office Depot and Office Max circulars now. That's finally. I've been away, of course. I haven't really paid attention to it. I'm sure it happened a couple months ago. But all right, we'll finish with them. We'll start with Staples. HP 15.6-inch i3 desktop, $449. Save $150. No, actually, that's a laptop. Sorry. Save $150. Dell i3 Windows 7 desktop, 8 gig of memory, 1 terabyte hard drive, $449. Save $100. Interestingly enough, Dell has a whole bunch of Windows 7 machines on sale. They have a page dedicated just to supporting your business. Windows 7 machines. Yeah, it was like, yeah, finally waking up to this opportunity here. Brother Mono Laser with duplex and wireless, $119.99, save $30. Dell i5 desktop, $529, save $100. A Logitech MK520 keyboard and mouse. This is the upgraded one from the. I have the 320, which is a great keyboard. It's smaller, but the 520 is a great desktop keyboard and mouse for $39, save $20. Dell 23-inch LED monitor for $139, save $60. Dell i7 Windows 7 desktop, $819, save $80. Dell and HP have anywhere from 13 to 17-inch convertible laptops on sale, $519 to $1229, and these are Windows 7 machines. SanDisk 16 gig USB drive, $16.99, save $13. 32 gig for $27.99, save $12. And that's at Staples. At Best Buy, they have an Asus 11.6-inch touchscreen laptop for $229.99. It's a Pentium processor, which I think the default Pentium is a dual core now. Has been for a while. 11.6-inch HP Pavilion Pentium convertible touchscreen laptop for $399. Means the cover twists and folds back on itself so it stays on the screen side up. $399. HP 17.3-inch A8 laptop for $379.99. Asus i7 desktop, 12 gig of memory, 2 terabyte hard drive for $879, save $120. Now I've been away from prices. It seems a little expensive to me, but is that a good price for an i7 desktop?
I don't know.
I was looking at building a bare bones i7, and it's still, even from parts, is going to be at least 5 something. So, okay, Apple has an iMac on sale, the 21.5-inch i5 for $999, save $100. An Acer 20-inch LED monitor for $79.99, save $50. Acer 23-inch IPS LED monitor on sale for $129.99, save $30. Western Digital 1 terabyte portable USB hard drive for $69.99, save $30. 2 terabyte portable for $119.99, save $30. Seagate 5 terabyte backup drive, desktop backup drive, $179.99, save $40. And they have a Canon wireless all-in-one inkjet for $69.99, save $30. That's at Best Buy. And finally, Office Depot Office Max. They have a HP 15.6-inch i3 touchscreen laptop for $399.99, save $150. HP 18.5-inch E1. This is an all-in-one monitor and PC. Great for tight spots. It is a Pentium processor. $339.99, save $110. HP. Sorry, when I'm trying to read my own handwriting here. Oh, HP 10 ream case of Office Ultra White paper for $29.99, which comes out to about $3 a ream. It's a pretty good price. It's saved $24.30. Brother MFC all-in-one inkjet printer with duplex, $99.99, save $50. A Toshiba 15.6-inch entry-level laptop for $219, save $60. And finally, a Dell 8-inch Android tablet with 16 gig of memory, $129.99, save $50. That's all at Office Depot Office Max. And that be it.
That's it?
That's it. I'm getting into it slow. I did three retailers.
I didn't have enough time to.
Does Tiger Direct do ads again? Have they had an ad?
Actually, I don't remember seeing Tiger Direct ads in the paper. We get them in email.
before I went away, they weren't around,
Yeah.
and you had to go to their webpage and just look at current deals. There was no Sunday ad, and they had stopped
Yeah.
it several months before I left. So, but I could add Fred Meyer, the retailer from Alaska, that's also serves the Pacific Northwest. I did get their ads every week.
Carton of milk and a
I bought a
Glock.
paper. So
All right, let's see what else we have here. And that's again involving. Hey, Steve, are you still with us?
Yeah, it's still here. I did step away, but I'm back now. I
Need
was
it-
back just in time for these specials. Thank
Yeah.
you, Spence.
You need a tissue?
No, it's all right.
Okay,
I'm
good.
holding it back. I'll let rip when the call's over.
A
It's an
US.
amazing entry level price, actually. That $219 for an entry level
Yes,
desktop.
yep.
There was no way we would get that price over here. I mean, ours would be £200, and that works out to £137. I did a quick calculation. That's dirt cheap.
I bought an entry-level laptop for my wife. It was a
Up there?
no. This was before.
Oh.
This was a year and a half ago. That was about $299, and it was a good machine. It's still working fine. It was a dual core. I think it was at the AMD. Not sure which their mobile, not the E1. It's what their mobile processor is. I don't remember what the designation was. Works great. It's just it was Windows 7. Just does the job. I mean, it's not just for web browsing and things like that. Took it with us on the trip. Worked great.
So, a U.S. district judge ruled last week that a decade-old antitrust lawsuit regarding Apple's Fair Play DRM can move forward to a jury trial. The plaintiffs claim that in 2004, when Real Networks launched a new version of Real Player that competed with iTunes, Apple issued an update to iTunes that prevented users from using their iPods to play songs obtained from Real Player. Real Networks updated its compatibility software in 2006, and Apple introduced a new version of iTunes that also rendered Real Networks' new update ineffective. The plaintiffs reason that they were thus locked in to Apple's platform. And as a result, Apple was able to overcharge its customers to the tunes of tens of millions of dollars. If the plaintiffs succeed, media content purchased online may go the way of CDs and be playable on competing devices. And what's wrong with that? I don't know.
10 years it took, huh?
The 10 years it took them. I mean, you're dealing with Apple, so I guess they're...
Well, a decade's not a long time, is it?
No, but I mean, that's the first time I hear about this that I remember. I mean, of course, I forget a lot. So...
Did you hear about the UK actually making it legal now that you can copy your CDs and DVDs to another media?
It seems like I remember reading that, yeah.
Yeah, 1st of October it came in. They've, although it was deemed as being illegal, that everyone was doing it anyway. So they've now actually made the law what it is that people do. So that you can copy your DVDs, you can copy your CDs to a different device, or just to make a copy of it. But you obviously can't give it to your family and friends, apparently.
No?
But at least it's legal now. It's like video recorders. That is still deemed as being illegal. If you've got an old VHS video recorder, as far as the law is concerned, that actually is still illegal.
That's true.
Which is insane, absolutely insane. When the vast majority of the public are doing something, then the vast majority of the public, in a democracy, must be right then.
Oh well.
It'll be interesting to when they select the jury pool for this, the kind of questions that they ask.
Did you hear about this? Yeah, I heard about it.
Well, just the effect on people's lives is not the same as it was. The reason it was such a hot thing back then, now it's like DVD, what's that? I do everything. I stream everything. What are you talking about? And you can go to all these free uh, pirate sites and watch anything you want to get. There's typically no impact whatsoever.
Yeah.
When you look at the Chinese market, they don't know what buying stuff is. All they do is download everything.
Think about what would happen to the Chinese economy. I'm not saying this shouldn't happen, but if that was fixed and they could no longer do that, they could no longer download pirated things, what that would do to their economy, which is already being falsely propped up anyway. But
makes you wonder, doesn't it?
The what?
I say it makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we know that China uses one copy of Windows 8.
yeah, yeah. I remember
Yes.
I told you about how I went to Singapore that one time, and I went to a computer trade show, consumer show, and they had all Windows software in little boxes that were with obvious black and white copies of the front covers on all the boxes. And you look at them, they all had the same user code. Yeah.
Just goes to show that the copy protection in DRM doesn't always work, does it? I mean, they were hell bent on making sure that it wasn't broken this time on Windows 8, and within hours it was already a fix was already out for it.
Let's see what else we have here. While Windows-based tablets haven't exactly set the world on fire, Microsoft hasn't given up on them. And its hardware partners haven't either. HP has announced a series of Windows tablets with a 7-inch low-end model, the Stream 7, and how much do you think it's priced?
$499.
$99. The Stream brand is also being used for low-priced laptops intended to compete with Chromebooks, which HP also sells. All are running Intel chips and full Windows, not Windows RT. So interesting, $99, a tablet that runs full Windows.
And that includes the license.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I read somewhere that Microsoft has really dropped the price of licensing to manufacturers in order to get a cheap laptops out there into people's hands with Windows 8. So they've really dropped the price to do that, which is about time.
Hey Brian, what operating system is the Fire HD 6 running, using, whatever?
I think it's a modified Android.
Yeah. Yeah, it's here we're talking about $99 for a tablet that uses a copy of Windows. That's sure.
What can you put that link up in the chat?
I don't have a link.
Oh, okay.
I've got it on paper. I mean, but I don't have the link itself. Just look for Stream 7. HP Stream 7.
I think it was on Engadget.com.
Yeah, this came from Slashdot, so it's getting there though. I mean, to sell a Surface for $500 or $600 or whatever it costs. I don't know. You know.
I mean, fine. The specs aren't going to be anything outstanding, but it's
It
an
doesn't
entry
need to
level.
be.
You know, for
It does.
$99, who cares?
Right. Exactly. Here's something that I mean, I thought about for a long time why they can't do this, and apparently, from what I read, they do it in Europe. A new feature being added to the LTE protocol that smartphones use to communicate with cellular towers will make it possible to bypass those towers altogether. Phones will be able to talk directly to other mobile devices and to beacons located in shops and other businesses. Known as LTE Direct, the wireless technology has a range of up to 500 meters. That's a little bit over half a mile. Far more than either Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, yeah. It is included in update to the LTE standard slated for approval this year, and devices capable of LTE Direct could appear as soon as late 2015. Researchers are, for example, testing LTE Direct as a way to allow smartphones to automatically discover nearby people, businesses, and other information. But I was reading, Steve, that in Europe they're already doing something about phones that are connecting with other phones directly. Did I misunderstand?
No, there was something like that. In fact, they've been using it in Hong Kong, haven't they? It's all done by Bluetooth. They don't actually go through the cell phone network. It's just used by people that are close by to you, or just pass on the message.
Which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in a crowded area for, say, a convention or something like that, and you want a message to get around to everybody, if everybody's got Bluetooth switched on and you've got somebody within 200 feet of you, there you go. The message is around.
Mm-hmm.
Can't think what it was called now, but it's something that's relatively new, and it's only been out in the last month or 5 weeks. But they've really picked up on it in Hong Kong, apparently, for these protests.
And talk about privacy again. U.S. authorities have arrested and indicted the CEO of a mobile software company for selling spyware that enables stalkers and domestic abusers. The U.S. Department of Justice accuses the man of promoting and selling software that can monitor calls, texts, videos, and other communications on mobile phones without detection. The agency pointed out this is the first criminal case based on mobile spyware, and promised to aggressively pursue makers of similar software in the future. The FBI, with approval from a district court, has disabled the website hosting the software. The indictment alleges that Stealth Genie's capabilities included the following. It recorded all incoming, outgoing voice calls. It intercepted calls on the phone to be monitored while they take place. It allowed the purchaser to call the phone and activate it at any time to monitor all surrounding conversations within a 15-foot radius. And it allowed the purchaser to monitor the user's incoming and outgoing email messages and SMS messages, incoming voicemail messages, address book, calendar, photographs, and videos. All of these functions were enabled without the knowledge of the user of the phone. Isn't that scary? And the dummy went selling it. If they can, I mean, that's, you can't trust your phone anymore.
I don't think you can have any expectation of trust and privacy from anything anymore.
Yeah.
Always go on the assumption that you're being monitored or looked over or listened to, whatever.
So NSA can spy, but an app can't, huh? Yeah, Brian.
Well, the black phone is supposed to be secure, isn't it? Although it's extremely expensive.
The black phone?
Yeah, there's a phone out there called a company called the Black Phone, which is supposed to be secure.
Don't know. Don't know. I'm running out of stories.
And it's time to go.
Yeah, maybe it is. And I don't know where Mike and Nick, I mean, they did say that they will be stepping out every now and then, but obviously it is taking long, and which is fine, you know. So maybe we will. We again. I'm going to put a questionnaire somewhere, and about whether we should go from 9 till 12 or 9 till 11 or 10 till 12. There were arguments about the fact that if we go from 10 till 12, we'll allow people from the West Coast to join us. More people from the West Coast to join us. But so far, whenever we get like to the last hour, I see the count kind of going down.
I think a lot of people leave for church, don't they?
I guess, I don't know. Spence, you think that 9 till 11 is better, right?
Well, personally for me it would be, but
Because
just to get started on, well, I always have chores to do on the weekend. Things to do, places to go, people to see.
yeah.
Pressure washing to be done.
For me, I don't mind. It's either time it's here, it's afternoon for me.
What time is it there now, Steve?
It's coming up for 4:30 here in the afternoon.
Yeah. Oh, good one, Tim.
Yeah, trust you to be difficult. You sure you don't want to make it 11:35?
9:35 to 11:35. Yeah, we can do that.
What time zone is it? Somewhere out there in the world, there's a time zone that's 15 minutes off from the rest of the world. I forget where it is, but it's one
That's
place
right.
that when it's 10 o'clock here, it's like 10:15 there.
Ah, shoot, I was looking at it some time ago. Can't think. All right, so, but we can end it now. Let's see where, just out of curiosity. No, we didn't drop much.
Well, we didn't have it earlier, although it should have had one, so let's put it in now. That's for the specials.
Yeah, now let's hope that YouTube is not going to flag us.
It should be all right, I think. That's got to be something really, really old, isn't it?
The other week they flagged us because Nick was showing that bending.
Oh, you're kidding.
The
really?
phone bending.
Really?
I'm serious. I mean,
Wow.
I don't care. As long as they don't make it like a hard strike, it's okay. They just tell you that you can't monetize. Well, I'm not monetizing anyway, so it's fine.
Where is it going to end?
I know. All right. Well,
It came from somewhere on TalkShoe, Lee. I knew where it came from, but where they got it, I don't know. Okay, chaps, it's been interesting. Nice to have Spence back, and it looks like you're a little bit more awake this week,
Yes.
Spence. You looked exhausted last week.
Oh, I was pretty fried. I'd only been home one day, and I'd been up all night. on
yeah,
the way
we had a
home.
sandwich at Subway, and he's all back to normal now.
Awesome. Right, we'll see you next week then. Have a great week,
All right,
everybody else
Steve,
there in the
thank
chat.
you,
Okay,
man.
Steve.
Thank you.
Okay, bye for now.
Spence, thanks, and Mike and Nick. Good morning. It's still morning, yeah. Good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie, and Donna. Spence, did you want to add anything? I'm sorry, I didn't.
No, just everybody have a good week. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. While you're at it, like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Tune in tonight at 8 o'clock for the Tanya Love Show. Tomorrow morning, or tomorrow actually afternoon at 1 o'clock, it's the Breaking Free Show. Bye, everybody.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, Health In with Debbie Bruck, Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Lessons of Vietnam with NCBVI members, The Tanya Love Show, Your Healthy Pet with Gisela DiCarlo. And if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it at www.nissancommunications.com. Sponsored by Atomus.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters for professionals, CarolinaApparel.com, and DeltaForce.net.